Teachers and parents are forced by certain pressures to think of school as a place to obtain grades. Grades, of course, give opportunities in life, but we need to be far aware that the world is changing so fast, so dramatically because of artificial intelligence, that the meaning of jobs and the meaning of our social environment is going to change. I hear from so many educationalists as I travel around the world that they think that one country is better than other countries for its education. But this isn't true. What we need to talk about is the actual teacher in the classroom. That's what it comes down to. And so as I do travel around, very often I go into a new classroom and a teacher will very proudly say to me, "Roy, this is my best student. She's the cleverest, she's the most intelligent." And the child will be sitting there in the front row, beaming eyes, obviously very happy and very contented with the environment. And then when you look around, the other children seem more vaguely interested, more distracted, more bored, more fed up, and even troublesome. And the teacher just looks at the ability of the children without realizing how important they are in fundamentally changing all this ability. You see, too often we think that school performance is based on intelligence. This child is smart. This child is really intelligent. Well, all children are intelligent. What we don't understand is that school's got nothing to do with intelligence. School works on two languages. These are mathematics and the language used, for example, English, French, Chinese, Japanese, whatever it happens to be. And these languages work on rules. So if the child understands the rules of how to transpose numbers about in mathematics, so they'll be good in mathematics. And then they'll be good in applied sciences. If the child knows the rules of spelling a word, grammatical structure, syntax, and storytelling, then they'll be able to explain their mind in such a way they'll get good marks that will encourage them to learn better. We really need to understand that school is just simply based on rules, and the job of the teacher is to inspire the children to want to keep up with these rules. It's as simple as that. When we think of the child or the student learning in school, we tend to think of their brain, what their brain is capable of doing. But we make a great mistake here because we don't understand how the mind drives the brain. I once wrote that to open the mind of a student or to open the mind of a child, you first have to open their heart. And what I mean by this is that if you create a sense of security, a sense of safety for the mind of the student, then in that safety they analyze the world about them calmly and rationalize about what they're really seeing. And this develops very precise networks to develop in their brain. It's necessary really to understand that the brain doesn't just think, it moves through three distinct processes. First of all, our senses analyze information, we may say interrogate. And so how interested the student is to listen or to read some information depends upon the sensitivity by which that information is passed into the brain, the memory circuits, to make sense of it. And so as one period of learning experience develops to another and to another and to another, the ability of the student or the child to relate to something at hand is much dependent upon the quality by which they experienced previous episodes of information. It's really important to understand this. I mean, I think it was Freud who said that the psychology drives physiology, and that's very, very much true, as I found out in my own research and workings with the brain and the nervous system. So if we think of the student going through these phases of interrogation, association, and presentation, we can understand more how we can teach them to be better. So that if we make the learning process exciting and interesting and fun, then they'll be calm and relaxed and inspired to want to really be very specific in the information they're analyzing. In turn, they will then process this into the memory circuits to get a very precise understanding of this. And then on the language that they've developed, so they can make their presentation. And this is why storytelling is so very, very fundamental to a child's development. Because when we tell stories to children, when we encourage them to tell their stories, then we're teaching them how to increase the word flow they've got build up the vocabulary, and then explain and relate to different scenarios. So they have a great reservoir of meanings, words, and intentions by which they can more precisely explain their mind. And in truth, this is all we evaluate student ability on, how well the student can explain their mind. If all teachers understood what I'm saying here, then all children would understand their lessons far better, and there'd be a great shift in student ability. All kids would get better grades. But this shift also requires the parents to be more active in the development of their children. Because children come from such diverse backgrounds where they are prepared differently for the school experience, so much of the effort of the teacher is spent on trying to get the child to focus and to keep up with what's happening. The problem for the school system is that from the moment the child is born, each is moved through a different atmosphere, through infancy, preschool, and right through the school educational process, where they are affected by many different factors, and of course where they are raised on a quality of sensitivity and emotional contentment to be able to relate to the world and sow information about them. The imagination that breeds from this security is the key to the child's school success, the grades that they ultimately obtain, and what we might qualify as their intelligence. This said intelligence of the child is nothing new. It's something that all parents can do to all children, is to help them to be more sensitive in their understanding of the world about them. The problem, of course, is that too many are ignorant of this knowledge. They were raised on the idea that their job is to look after the child and give the child to the teacher for the teacher to teach. The role of the parent is fundamental in the child's academic development. Too few realize this. But we don't, because we are too busy, too distracted, too stressed, don't even realize. And today we let the television stimulate our children, or computer games. We don't have the time now for our children like we should do.